Did you guys hear about the Nigerian prince who was scammed by a Somali migrant? He was just trying to get ahead. So you know Italians were big hand talkers, right? I mean, we're always going a mile a minute. I had a shoulder replacement a couple of years ago, and they put me in one of those wraparound slings. It was awful. I actually developed a stutter. You know, the greatest invention for Italians has been these stemless wine glasses. I can't tell you how many wine glasses my wife and I knocked off the table over the years. We probably saved about $400 now that they came out with the stemless ones. You know, my lunchbox as a kid, I had linen napkins, I had silverware, I had a little wine glass, and I had 6 extra meatball sandwiches. I used to sell those to the Jewish kids. You know, I got a very heavy Italian, New York kind of accent, and people will run up to me and say, hey, do that New York accent, let's talk, let's go for coffee. And it always blows my mind. This one guy came up to me and I said to him, hey, Ring, do I go up to you and say, give me a fly ice? You know, Italians, you know you're Italian when you use the rubber bands from the Broccoli Rob as your wallet. I went over to my grandfather's house and I told him I needed a new wallet. He reached in the drawer, he grabbed 20 rubber bands, threw them on the table. He says, hey, pick your color. You know, Italian women, I've been around Italian women my whole life, 6 generations of Italian women, and I can tell you they talk fucking incessantly. They're always going a mile a minute. I know your wife's Italian, right, Casey? Always talking a mile a minute. Which it occurs to me that they must breathe through their ears, right? Because they're always going a mile a minute. Now that to me blows that whole theory out of the water of I'm not sucking that because I can't breathe. You know, growing up in Brooklyn, Italian and Jewish neighborhoods were always adjacent. So you know you tend to make friends outside of your own community. So you know the 2 friends I had were Ira and Heshi. So as we're growing up, you know, we're going to go to college, and we decide to go to Baruch College, which is part of City University of New York. We're going to be accountants. My parents were overjoyed. Theirs were distressed. An accountant, you got to be a doctor, you got to be a lawyer. What the fuck is wrong with you? So, you know, maternal guilt is something both cultures are famous for. You know, the guilt that they would put on us is you got to show up for Sunday dinner, you got to bring everybody, all the cousins are going to be there, you know, right? All the cousins got to be there. And the biggest risk for me was getting indigestion. We call it agita. But my Jewish friends, their mothers would work in guilt as if it was an art medium. They were just so fucking good at it, and they would guilt the kids. And, you know, a lot of my Jewish friends, they ended up with a lifetime of IBS. Right, Jacob? Where's Jacob? He left?
He's in the bathroom.
He got IBS, so he's in the can. You know, and Ira and Heshi would say to me, you're stressing out over meatballs. We got to go to 12 years of school to make our parents proud. So, as we walked into that first accounting class at Baruch College, there were 40 kids in the class. There were 5 of us that did not have yarmulkes. Me and 4 girls. So I told my friends, I said, everybody's got yarmulkes? I feel kind of left out. Well, they surprised me. They gave me one of those nice velvet yarmulkes, and it was monogrammed with Rocky on one side and an Italian flag on the other. I don't know where they got that, but in Brooklyn you can get everything if you know the right guy. You know, Italians were, UNESCO just said that Italian food is a World Heritage thing. So it's pretty important to us Italians. But, you know, Italians and Jews both have their own delicacies, right? We got meatballs, we got rice balls, we got mozzarella balls. My Jewish friends have matzo balls. Matzo balls are made with unleavened flour, guilt, and schmaltz. What the fuck is schmaltz? They share corned beef with the Irish. They share brisket with the rednecks. And now they share a little strip of land where everybody wants to kill them. I knew Casey would like that. You know, Italians and Jews, we don't start shit, but we certainly know how to finish it. Anybody in the market for a used pager? You know, the boys would come over to the house at the holidays. They would eat like they were going to the chair in the morning. And my nonna would say, these are guys that they know got a food at home. I says, yeah, they have food at home, but it's not like ours. So they would come over and, you know, my nonna would put out antipasto. We'd have 14 different kinds of salami, 12 different kinds of cured pork products. And Italians have 300 commercially available cheeses. My friend Heshy has lactose intolerance. You know, on Christmas Eve, we do the 7 fishes. I'm sure you heard about that. You know about that, the 7 fishes, right? And my Jewish friends know not to show up at an Italian house with empty hands. So here comes Ira in with a jar of gefilte fish. He called it fish number 8. The Kobe Bryant of fish. You know, as we aged, I got more ornery, and my friends got more phlegmy. I have a question. Maybe my Jewish friends could help me out. What do the Moyles do with all those foreskins? I think we knew all along as kids because we used to find it in the Topps baseball cards. That's my time. What in a towel. Happy Hanukkah. Thanks for hanging out with us.